Hi, thanks so much for watching the Weekly Connect for the 16th and 17th of January. This week we are going to be teaching about God's graciousness, and we're going to be going through the parable of the workers in the field. So when the kids come in, they're all going to make a clock. So each of them will need to cut out the arrows that they have here. They have 2 arrows, and as you can see, the arrows have little holes in the middle. So they'll have a brad to put through the holes, and then they'll each have a white paper plate that they can decorate however they'd like, just as long as they can still write the numbers 1 through 12 on them, just like a clock. And then they'll just push the brad through the middle and secure it on the back when they're finished. So let them have fun decorating their clocks however they would like to. And then that's just going to be getting them ready to go into the story room, where we're going to be hearing about the workers in the fields and the various times of the day that the workers began working in the vineyard, and how they all ended up being paid the exact same amount. So the kids can follow along in the story room if they have their clocks with them, and each time the storyteller tells them a different time, they can move their clock hands to that as well. So hopefully that won't be too distracting. I think it's kind of engaging, get them something to do during story time, just something a little bit different. As always, during story time this month, we also have a video too. So if you are the storyteller and you'd prefer to tell the video, you are able to do that as well. So when you are finished making the clocks and it's time to transition to the story room, your Connect question would be, would you rather work all day and do chores all day long and get paid for it, or sit around and do nothing but just not get paid? So have the kids talk about that, and then you'll start talking about Peter's question to Jesus about what he and the other disciples would be getting in heaven because they had been following Jesus throughout, just earlier than everybody else. They had continued to follow him. And he was kind of wondering, maybe he thought he and the disciples deserved something because they had given up so much of their lives, and they had been doing, just living for Jesus for the longest, more than anybody else who maybe at the 11th or 12th hour decided to give their lives to Jesus. So Jesus explained to Peter, using the vineyard example, talking about how, nobody deserves God's grace, and it is God's to give, and they can't earn it. He wanted to make it clear that grace cannot be earned, and it's a gift from God. And it doesn't matter if you were first or if you're last, because in God's world, the first will be last and the last will be first, and it doesn't matter because it's God's grace, and He's giving it, and He's in charge, and He gets to decide who gets what and what happens to whom. And He gives each and every one of us a different, unique story. Every single person in His family comes to Him at different times of their lives, or different things happen in them, and God is so gracious and so good that He gives us all these different timings, these different stories, these different relationships with Him, and He does that all just for us and for our grace. And it's nothing that we could have earned, nothing that we could have done to get to this point, and that's what Jesus is trying to explain to them. So I do need to show you, if you decide to follow along with the script, when I was first writing out the script, I thought it'd be cute if the kids all made rubber band balls, and then I went to the store to buy some rubber band balls, which I would need 15 for all 3 of the campuses, and rubber band balls are kind of expensive. So rather than spend about $50 on rubber band balls, I decided that I was going to have the kids just make them. So I got little rubber balls and a bunch of rubber bands, and I tried to put the rubber bands around the balls. And while I was able to do it, it took a while to get it started, and it just didn't make as big of an impact by the time the story was over as I think this new idea that I came up with. So anyways, you will have little balls, you'll have rubber bands in your classroom if that's what you want to stick with. But I'm also going to give each class a set of paper clips as well, so that you could maybe do this. It seemed like it was a little bit more impactful, so you're going to have to make that choice for yourself. But what I'm going to have done at the Thornton campus is I'm going to give the kids a box of paper clips, and as they get called up, they're going to start making their chain. So obviously the person who's called up first is going to start on their chain, and by the end of the class, ideally, it will be super duper long, and you'll be able to tell, it'll have a little bit more impact. You'll be able to tell how hard they worked, that their paperclip strand was much, much longer than the person who just started working a couple minutes ago. So that's my idea. All of the kids will still get a lollipop. So you'll pick 5 kids that will get a Tootsie Roll Pop. At the end, they'll all get paid the exact same amount. So just in order for it to be more impactful, you decide what you want to do. If you have even a better idea, I would love to hear it, or just go ahead and use it at your campus. That would be great too. So however you would like to do that. Or like I said, you can also just play the video. And at some of the campuses, I know this week we also have puppets. So lots of different ways to tell the story this week. You'll go right into your blessing after story time. You'll do your worship and offering, and then you'll go into your blessing. And your blessing this week is from Ephesians 2:8 through 10. And it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this not from yourselves. It is the gift of God, for we are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. So it's just reiterating our story, and the point in the story that it's God's grace that gets us where we are. It is not anything that we can do. We cannot be good enough. We cannot follow him long enough. We cannot spend enough time worshiping or doing anything like that in order for us to earn that grace. It is just what God gives us, and it is a free gift. And then after story, of course, you'll have your review questions. And you'll have your prayer time, as always, with some prompts in there to help you get that prayer time going. And then you'll also have an activity that's called That's Not Fair Chairs. So you're going to need some music in your room. You'll need a music box, a CD player. You could bring a music box. That might be fun for the kids, too, if you even have one. You can get a CD player and a CD, and we're going to be playing something similar to musical chairs. And how you want to play it is just like you would play musical chairs, and then occasionally just give one of the kids an M&M, even the kid who gets out. Maybe the child who doesn't find a chair at the end, just say, here you go, and just give him an M&M. But don't do it every time. You want to be inconsistent, and the point of the story is that they're your M&Ms, and you will give them out as you see fit. Now, I have bought plenty of M&Ms, so by the end, we're not going to have any tears. Everybody will be able to have an M&M, but hopefully this illustration will help the kids to learn that it's your M&Ms, you're giving it as a gift, and the kids haven't done anything to deserve it, and it's up to your discretion to be able to give them out to anybody that you see fit to give it to. So hoping that works out as well. I know sometimes we have some kids that really are stuck on what's fair and what's not fair, and in our simple minds, we cannot see that it's fair to actually lose a game and still get the award, or to be working through the whole story time and not get more of a reward than the others. So that's just, hopefully we're going to explain that to kids and explain how Jesus explained that to his disciples as well. So that's our goal. Just let them know that God is gracious and it's up to him and his plan. So that's it for the lesson this week. Next week, we're going to continue on with our parables. We're going to teach the rich fool. So that'll be a good one as well. I hope you're enjoying these studies as much as I am. And if you have any questions or concerns, or you have any great ideas for how to teach any of these parables, I would love to hear them. And we can pass it on to the rest of our leaders too. So thank you so much. Have a lovely, blessed day. And we will see you this weekend. Happy teaching. Thanks.